Hello and welcome to the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, PrecisionHydration.com.
Precision Hydration offer electrolyte drinks in different strengths to match how you sweat. Personalise your hydration strategy today at precisionhydration.com and get a free box or tube of pH worth up to $9.99 using the code Oxygenaddict.
We're also sponsored by FuelCells.co.uk.
The next generation of nutritional carriers designed to allow endurance triathletes and cyclists to carry enough food and gels while allowing easy access. Check them out at foodcell.co.uk and details later of how to win one of 3 food cells in a giveaway competition.
And we're also sponsored by Team Oxygen Addict.
Event-specific training plans with coaching support from your host, Rob Wilby, monthly video coaching calls, and a private Facebook group for you and your teammates.
And a bit of news for you this week. You can all now join our new Oxygenaddict Triathlon community Facebook page. There's more details to follow later on in the show, but it's a freebie and it's a goodie. All right, Hells, hello there. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rob. We've got loads coming up today. We're going to be doing interviews with Matt Hauser, junior world champion from last year, aren't we? We've got Nikki Bartlett back on the show.
Update from her after what sounds like a fairly painful way to make the podium at Ironman Wales last weekend. God bless her. We've got a great Coach's Couch chunk coming up, talking about if you're allergic to pool water. No joke intended there. I know some people do think they're actually allergic to swimming, but this is a real question about sneezing a lot when you get out of the water. And we've also got bits and bobs of news coming up as well. So, yeah, welcome to the show. All right, let's jump straight in, Hells. Let's go in with we've got loads of results to get through this week, haven't we?
There are a load of results because there was a lot of racing, and the main thing going on this weekend was the ITU Grand Final in the Gold Coast, or on the Gold Coast.
Sure is. But before we get to that, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, PrecisionHydration.com. If you haven't been over to their website yet, get yourself over there. You can take that online sweat test. That'll give you a sense of whether you're a particularly heavy or salty sweater. If that points you in the right direction, you can have a real in-life person sweat test done. You can see how heavy you sweat or how salty your sweat is. And all of this is because traditional electrolyte drinks just don't cut it for the majority of triathletes out there. You need to be keeping on top of your hydration and your electrolyte balance if you want to avoid cramps. And also if you're racing when it's extremely hot or you're racing lots of long distance races, you want to make sure that you're not at risk of overhydrating and the various health risks that can bring with it. So Precision Hydration have got that solution for you. They've got loads of different strengths of electrolytes sachets. You can just pour them into your drink. They are almost tasteless. They're not salty, so you can add them into whatever drinks you're having there. And it just makes sure that those important sodium and other electrolytes stay topped up. So get over today and check out precisionhydration.com. And if you use the code Oxygenaddict, you can get £10 worth or £9.99 worth for free. You only pay the postage, so you get to essentially check it out risk-free, which is a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it, Hells, really?
Absolute no-brainer, and it's good stuff. Really good stuff.
So we were just saying, weren't we, the grand final this weekend happening down on the Gold Coast, and there was some serious racing as well.
Did you manage to watch a lot of it, Rob?
I saw the highlights. I didn't see it all live. I've been busy this week. We've been moving house at Oxygenaddict Towers, so I managed to sneak the highlights in. So yeah, if people haven't seen it, get over and watch the highlights that are on. There was some real biff in the swim. Ali Brownlee ended up getting disqualified because he was actually disqualified for swimming on the wrong side of the buoy, but they zoom in on it and show it on the replay. It just looks
awful.
It looks like a rugby scrum, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it really, because you often hear about how brutal the swim can be and how rough it is and, getting dunked and everything like that. But this video genuinely brings it completely to light, doesn't it?
It looks like it's a more than 90-degree turn, doesn't it? It looks like they're going round it and then kind of back on themselves as well. So it's not like there's even any clear water on the other side of the buoy. And when they zoom in, it looks to me like Ali Brownlee actually tries to swim underneath and sort of get under it and round
it almost
the right side
pops
of the
up and it's like, I'm not in the right place.
It's not like he's going, I'm going to take a sneaky shortcut here. But, fair play to him. He puts his hands up, and on his Twitter feed, he said, really disappointed today. I thought I had a decent race in me, my first ever DQ. I was on the wrong side of the buoy, and I've seen it on video, but I was disorientated after being hit and held under the water in the roughest swim I've ever done. So there you go.
Yeah, he and Russell White of Ireland were both disqualified for not going around that buoy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, down at the very sharp end of the field, we had victory for. Can you pronounce this for me, Hals? You're much better at this. Is it Vincent?
Vincent
Louis. There we go. I'm getting there, aren't I?
Yeah. Yeah, he was looking so comfortable on the run, Rob.
Yeah,
so Vincent Louis of France, and the commentators were saying that he very much sort of picks and chooses his races a lot more. So actually, he may well have been in
peak form.
A lot fresher than perhaps Mario Muller, who just couldn't quite hang on to him towards the end of that run.
Yeah, and you've also got to wonder as well with Mola, knowing that he's got the overall win in the bag, just how much he's going to push himself to the line for that. You never know how much the psychology plays into it, do you? But there we go, great seasons for both of them. Now then, over on the ladies' side, there was serious interest for Great Britain because it was a head-to-head, wasn't it, for the overall championship?
Yeah, so between Vicky Holland and Katie Zafiris of America, so whoever crossed the line first was going to be overall winner. And,
well, there's no two ways about it. Vicky Holland gets the win.
Yeah, and Rob, wasn't it like completely sort of absolutely thrilling, nail-biting run, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looks like Zafiris really laid it out. She went out super, super hard on the shoulder of Ashley Gentle, and at about the halfway point, the commentators are basically giving it to her. And I was thinking, I'm not so sure about this. She was maybe, I don't know, the gap can't have been much more than 50 or 60 metres. And then all of a sudden, it just looked like Katie Zafiris popped completely. Holland's back on her shoulder. She puts a surge in. I thought Zafiris was going to walk. I really did.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't walking. Obviously, she's probably still running 5-minute miles, but Vicky Holland, hats off to her. She just looked tactically brilliant and so composed as she came by her.
Yeah. And even at the end, when it was between her and Ashley Gentle, wasn't it? Yeah. Sort of with 200 metres to go, and they were running side by side, and Gentle sort of goes, and you're thinking, and Holland was with her, and then she just didn't quite have that extra little tiny bit at the very end to take the victory. But obviously she finished ahead of Katie Zafiris, which was enough to take the overall title, which is amazing because she said, it wasn't her goal at all this year. It was very much the Commonwealth Games, which she was focusing on. Disappointed there, finished outside the medals, so to win the final series is fantastic. And Georgia Taylor Brown, Rob, as well. Yeah. Whenever I see Georgia's name, I always think of the Sale Harriers 5K runs that you'd sort of look down the results list and she'd be really up there at the very towards the very top of those. It's worse for me because she would always pass me at the 2K mark, and I'd think, damn it, I've gone off too hard again. I just always think, and you'd look and you're like, oh my God, that girl can run.
Yeah,
she can swim and bike as well, can't she? So she finished third in the overall standings, and then Jess Learmonth was fifth, Rob, in the overall standings, with Jodie Stimpson seventh. So I just think it bodes so well going into Tokyo, the next Olympics, that we've got strength and depth there.
That thing that, who am I thinking of now? Sophie Caldwell said the other day when you interviewed her, didn't she? The strength in depth is so scary in Great Britain that, you've got to
She wasn't even meant to start. Sophie Caldwell was not even meant to start in the sort of in that senior elite race because there were others ahead of her.
Great Britain have got 5 in the top 12 in the ITU Grand Final.
It's insane, isn't it? It's
really
just fantastic. Something that should be shouted from the rooftops and massively celebrated. It's brilliant.
Yeah, can't agree more. All right then, so jumping over a little bit down to France, it was 70.3 Nice this weekend, Hells. And I was very interested in this because obviously having raced Ironman France before, big fan of that course, but also this was really the trial event for what's going to be the World Championships next year, isn't it? The 70.3 World's going to be held on this course. So I was very interested to see what kind of times the top pros would put out on there, because it's essentially the same course as Ironman France with a huge loop at the top cut out of it. So they do the big old climb that's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be a 20k climb, I think, something like that. Yeah. And then they come straight back down the other side of it. So watching a world championship type race happening, not just amongst the pros, but amongst the age groupers as well, you know, a couple of thousand highly motivated people, type A personalities, racing on a course like that with, they're not switchback corners on the descent, but there's lots of blind corners where you can't see the exit going into them. It's going to be interesting, to say the very least.
Jason Holmes, Rob, listened to the show, did it, and he said it was tough, but made it. And then he said, trial run for World Champs next year. Unless there is a huge roll down, I won't make it.
Oh, bless him. He's a Team Oxygenaddict lad as well.
But yeah, he said, he said it was good, but tough.
He said it was super, super hot. Actually, he texted me and said, at the top of the climb it was baking, and on the run it was baking as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good old course. So on to the results. It was a win for, on the men's side, Rudy von Berg from the USA, who actually beat Freddie Van Leerd by 5 minutes, and he put all the time into him on the bike. So Obviously Freddie Van Leerd is the man on that course. He knows that course like the back of his hand, having won Ironman France, I think, at least 3 times, maybe as many as 5 times. So my money was, I was thinking, you've got to think most of the bikers are going to be there or thereabouts in terms of ability, and it's going to come into bike handling on those descents. So for someone to put 5 minutes into Freddie Van Leerd was super impressive.
Rudy von Berg's having an amazing season though, because he won Wildflower, didn't he? Which had Jesse Thomas's name written all over it, so to speak. 70.3 European Championship he won as well. Right. And then he got a second at Mont Tremblant, and he was 10th as well in South Africa at the World Champs. So I mean, he is having a cracking run of form.
Yeah, and he's got to be putting himself right up there for one of the favourite slots for this race for next year, if he can hold that form, because he'll be even stronger by then. So hats off to him. So Rudy van Berg first, Freddie Van Leerd second, and Giulio Molinari in third. Over on the ladies' side. Yeah,
it was Manon Genet of France who took the win, ahead of Nina Deron of Switzerland, and then Jean Collonges of France was third.
There we go, good stuff. All right, next up with the results, we just want to give a quick shout out, don't we, to the Great Britain medalists from the World Sprint Championships that happened down on the Gold Coast.
Yes. Now, Rob, Michelle Dillon was...
how about that? Yeah. I'm so delighted to see that for her. Because it's easy to sit there and go, like, 2-time Olympian, what's she doing racing age group? But then you hear a story and you go, she had to have her spine fused, didn't she? Because she was so injured. So to have her back healthy again is one thing. To have her back racing at that level again. And then I read somewhere that she was racing...
Sam Warriner,
again, 2-time Olympian.
Yeah. World Cup Series champion as it used to be, who's now Samantha Bradley. But, Rob, wouldn't you be gutted if you were in that 45 to 49 age group? Come on.
It's classic, isn't it? I heard the other day on a podcast, Chris McCormack was talking about he wanted to come back and race age group in the 45 category. And people were obviously saying, no, you don't get to do that. But why not, I guess?
Well, why not? You would be gutted, though, if she was in your age group. You'd be like, right, there's no chance there.
Yeah. But fair play, they had a good old battle, and you know what, with her history of injuries, I'm really glad to see her
it's
back.
Great, and she's such a good role model and an amazing, excellent coach and everything like that. So it is fantastic, and it's, like we were saying last week about the fun of everything, it's kind of awesome that she is still racing.
Yeah, that's right. And she got back into she did the British Duathlon Championships with Emma Pallant, didn't she? And finished second to her at the elite level, just jumped in and had a go. So yeah, hats off to her. So anyway, I want to read out the gold medalists, because I think if you win a gold medal at the Worlds, you get a shout out. So James Hodgson won the mile 24. Edward Castro won the male 30. James Wilson won the male 35. Michelle Dillon won the female 45. Penny Rother won the female 60. Peggy Crome won the female 75.
Peggy's amazing. I met her at Llandudno the other year.
Did you really?
Yes.
Legend.
Honestly. Total legend, and just so funny and really lovely to chat to as well. One of these people who you think, wow, I hope I can be as awesome as you are, and as wise and funny and just friendly and lovely and knowledgeable when I'm 75.
You already are those things, you're just not 75 yet.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm on, there we go. I'm on a good path.
And then there's one more. Mary Anstey won the female 80 category. So I hope we're both doing sprint triathlons when we're 80 years old, Hells.
Blimey.
Brilliant.
I just think it's so impressive.
It is. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, imagine your grandkids, usually it's like, oh, so proud of my grandchild. And you'd just be like, oh, my granny's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that brilliant?
Yes, that is inspiration in an 80-year-old right there.
Well, here's another one for a bit of inspiration. Over at Challenge Almere in Holland, that happened last weekend, but we didn't get the results in there. Yvonne van Vleuten took the ladies' race out in 9 hours and 3 seconds. Oh, breaks your heart. Missed the 9-hour barrier, Fred. That would have been like her 15th sub-9 time or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So she took that out. Over on the men's side, there was a right old ding-dong battle between Jaroslav Kovacic. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Sounds good, yeah.
Jaroslav Kovacic caught Cam Worth partway through the marathon. Cam Worth put in a 4:10 bike split and then rounds it out with a 2:52 on the run to finish in 8 hours flat and 55 seconds. So, hats off to Jaroslav Kovacic. He must have run in the mid to low 240s to end up with a 7:55 and break the overall course record. But real big step forward for Cam Worth to put a 2:52 on the board. And obviously, we had him on the show. He talks about how he was trying to figure out this marathon thing.
Yeah.
His style of training is obviously working for him, isn't it? For all the people who are saying he's racing too much. To go 8 hours flat is not slow. And I tell you what, all of a sudden people are thinking,
Yeah.
I think, we were thinking Cam was going to run 3 hours and 5 in Kona. If he's put a 2:52 on the board, that's going to change the dynamic now because people are not going to want to give him any leeway on the bike at all.
Yeah, honestly, it just adds another interesting thing to the mix, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Kona's coming up, isn't it? We've only got about 4 weeks to Kona at this point. Exciting times.
Yes, I know.
We'll have to start having a nosy around in the rankings and start having a chat about the upcoming who we think's going to do what, Hells. I'll give you a little bit of preparation
like I did
time.
last year, which was write it on the back of an envelope.
That's okay. It's right to do a bit of preparation. I know it's not the Oxygenaddict way, but...
Oh, no, yeah, I had thought it through. It's just I probably couldn't... Wow, why type it into the computer if you can write it on the back of an envelope? I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
That means I could then scribble it out and change it and think, oh, no, I'm going to move that around.
Well, this is going to be the rules this year, Hells. We'll put a thing up in the Oxygenaddict Triathlon community page where people have got to predict the top 3, men and women, but they're only going to be allowed to do it with a photograph of their pics written on the back of an envelope. How about that?
Say that again. I'm lost.
So we'll
Go
put
again.
a thread up in the new Oxygenaddict Triathlon community Facebook group saying predict your top 3, male and female. But instead of them typing it into Facebook, we're going to get them to write it on the back of an envelope, take a photo of it and post it.
Yes, all over that. Yeah.
See if anyone can be
Great
bothered.
Oh, they'll love it. It's something to do during the day, isn't it?
Maybe. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. They can type it in as well, but in the event of a tiebreaker, the winner's going to be the one on the back of an envelope. How about that?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. There's been a bit of banter around Rob between the likes of Tim Don and Joe Skipper and Cam Worth now that Cam Worth posted his 2:52.
Oh, really? All right, go on then, because you're in with the Twitterati. Tell me what's going on.
Well, no, because that sort of Cam saying that Bob will need to hold an interview in a UFC cage. There's bants between Starkovic and Cam Worth and 2:51 Tim Don with a little smiley face. to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Camworth says, "How fast do I have to run to be classified as a runner?"
Oh,
And Tim
see.
Don says 2:51. And then Starkovich joins in and says, "I'm still running at 2:51, so I qualify as a runner. I'm also still running at 3:05, which makes me think I'm a better runner than you." So yeah, just lots of.
It's nice that they get a bit of back and forth between them, isn't it? I like that the pros do that.
Yeah, and then Starkovich is saying, there's at least some interesting characters who'll be in Kona this year, like Don and Skipper and Worth, saying that, no one's basically vanilla.
Yeah, like it. Good.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, there's a bit more of that in future. Anyway, let's crack on. We'll go and do a bit of Coach's Couch, Hells. Before we actually read the question, we gave a little trail at the start. I'll talk a bit about it now. We've started up a new Oxygenaddict Triathlon Community Facebook group. It's a totally free one, so it's different to the one that the Team Oxygenaddict members are in. This is I'm looking at it, Hells, like an alternative to some of the other big Facebook pages that are out there, because I try to go on them and I try to interact on them, and people are so mean to each other in there sometimes. I just can't be doing with it. So I thought, You know what, either be part of the solution or not. So we've started our own one, and the rules are dead simple. Everyone's welcome. Come in, talk about triathlon. If you're not nice, you get booted out. It's dead simple. If you give abuse,
I like that.
You get booted. Dead simple.
No bullies in the playground.
Yeah, don't be a dick. If you are, we're going to lob you. So it's as simple as that. So come on in, all are welcome. But it's not a 3 strikes rule. Don't test me. I'm going to just boot you out if you're an idiot. So yes, we're going to get all the listeners in there, hopefully. We're going to get all the people who are interested in chatting about the races this year, all the people who just want a bit of, rumour mongering about Kona and what's going to go on. So yeah, should be good.
I'm in it already, Rob.
You are there, Hells.
I'm there. I am a member. So yeah, when I remember, I will come and check and do stuff.
I'm going to invite Joe Skipper, and I'm going to invite Camworth and get them in for some bants, as you said. You know what the young people say these days?
Bants.
Bants. Is that what they say?
Hashtag bants. I don't know. I don't even know. Don't get me started on younger things. Rob.
Come on,
don't
read
go there.
Read me a question out. Come on.
So Mick Simpson says, "Is there anyone out there that's allergic to the pool? No joke intended. Every time I get out the pool, I'm sneezing uncontrollably, and then I'm really stuffy. Any suggestions? Been a regular swimmer all my life. Never had this before." Now, Rob, I've seen this before with other friends and Tri Club members who almost can't swim at the pool because of this very same issue. Yeah.
Well, I thought it would be a great thread. This has come up on the new page, and I thought we'll get it in straight away, because often people post this up and they think people are going to laugh at me, and then they get loads of examples of other people who suffer the same thing. And so I thought, right, let's get it out there. We've talked about it before, but there is a cure for this. There's a couple of good cures for it. It's dead simple and it's dead cheap. To give it a bit of validation, though, other people in the group have said, Tim Moore says, yes, I have the same thing. I get a 1-day cold every time I swim. Peter Jones says, I've been using antihistamine sprays. It seems to work better than just pills. So he has the same problem. Neil Tim says, I get exactly the same thing, and I'm thinking a nose clip is the way forward. Neil, you smack on, mate. Andy Taylor says, I have the same issue. Jennifer Davis says, my husband has the same problem if he swims in a chlorinated pool. He's all right in salt water. So, we could go on. There's like 14 different people have commented already, right? So it is a massive, massive problem. And as you said, Hel, some pools are worse than others. Some pools seem to affect you on some days worse than others. We've got friends who can't swim at Knutsford because it really bugs them, and other people it doesn't bother at all. I am really bad sometimes and not others, and the thing that I found for it was just buying a Speedo nose clip. Now, I'm going to mention the brand because I've tried every nose clip out there. The rest of them are rubbish. Speedo are brilliant, right? They're about $2.99 in Sport Direct. So buy yourself a handful and leave them in every swimming bag, and it just stops any water going up your nose at all. It does take a bit of time to get used to swimming with a nose clip on if you're used to, like good swimmers will breathe out through their nostrils anyway, right? So it really bugs them. But for the majority of us mortals, we probably don't do a lot of that anyway. Bonus of this is when you do a tumble turn, you're not going to get any water up your nose at all. So that's great. And as other people have said, you can also back that up then with an antihistamine afterwards. I do think it's down to not necessarily the chlorine in the water, but when I did my pool lifeguard many years ago, the guy running it told us that the chlorine reacts with the bits of like body fat and stuff that come off you. You know, you always told you've got a shower before you go in the pool, and everyone goes, yeah,
and
right.
no one does.
No one does. The chlorine reacts with the germs and all the bits and bobs on your skin, and it creates like a little layer of gas above the water that's essentially the same as the mustard gas they used in the Second World War. So pools are worse on a day when they've had like loads of kids in swimming lessons, and there's been groups of 30 of the little beggars in all day, filthy and not washed, and it gets this layer of, you know, essentially like mustard gas above the water. Makes it hard to breathe. It can irritate your nose. That's probably what's causing it, right? Nose clip, simple solution.
Love it. Well, there we go. That is Coach's Couch. So if you do have a question and you want to ask it in the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Community Facebook group, do just that. Or you can get in touch as well on Twitter, or you can drop us an email.
You sure can. And I'll put the link to that Facebook page in the show notes, so you can click on that and then you go. Or you can just search for Oxygen Addict Triathlon Community and in you go. Do you know what, Hels? We launched it a day ago. We thought we'd have it up and running, being super organised, so we could talk about it on the show. There's over 300 members already at the end of day one.
That's really good.
Just through people seeing it. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's power of Facebook, Rob.
It is indeed. All right, let's jump into this week's interview of the week, shall we, Hels?
Yes, I think that is a very, very good idea. And this is sponsored by FuelCells.co.uk. And we've got a competition.
We have. So we've mentioned FuelCell the last couple of weeks. If you've not heard of it, they are a British-made, very clever top tube food and gel storage device. So very easy to get things into and out of on the fly with a clever sliding mechanism. Loads of volume in there, so you can fit 4 of those big fat gels or 2 big pieces of flapjack in it, so you can get loads of stuff in. It's washable, it's aerodynamic. It actually makes some of those top-end bikes more aerodynamic than they are without it on, so it's all good, right? You can check it out over at foodcell.co.uk, and you can win a FuelCell by following them. Now, here's what you have to do. You follow on both Twitter and Instagram. They are at FuelCell Europe. Send them a message on there with the hashtag FuelCell. Anyone who does send them a message will get entered into a draw. They're going to pick 3 names out at random at the end of October, right? Everyone that enters the draw, Hells, is going to get given a 25% off code for their first purchase. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, that is awesome. So follow on Twitter and Instagram at FuelCell Europe. Message with hashtag FuelCell. And then, they'll pull out 3 names at random before the end of October.
Good stuff. All right. So, interview of the week this week is with the Australian superstar, soon to be junior world champion in 2017, Commonwealth gold medalist in the relay, and he was 4th, wasn't he? Was he 4th in the actual individual race as well?
Yeah. Matt
Hauser. Sorry, Hels, I've cut you off there. You were about to say something about him, weren't you?
No, I thought, no, I'm going to stop and we'll just hear it.
All right, well, here we go then. Smooth as butter. This week's interview of the week is with Matt Hauser.
Matt Hauser, hello and welcome to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Podcast. How are you?
G'day, Helen. Yeah, not bad. Going well on the Gold Coast here. It's nice sunny winter for us, so feeling really good.
I'm quite jealous. I was in the Gold Coast back for the Commonwealth Games and loved it.
Yeah, no, it's a great place where you certainly get spoilt with the weather. So it's good.
People might not have heard of you, Matt. They clearly should have done. But for those that haven't, just give us a little synopsis of who you are.
Yeah, well, I basically started triathlon when I was maybe 11 or 12 years old. I came into it through a bit of cross-country and athletics running through high school, and kind of made my transition into the junior triathlon and making it up through the ranks in Triathlon Australia. My first world champs were in Chicago, where I placed 5th. There was a rain-forced duathlon there, so that was an interesting beginning to my international career. But and it kind of flowed on from there. My year after, though, at Junior Worlds was a bit of a shambles. I got smashed in Cozumel, Mexico, and came 45th. But after a bit of soul searching and a bit of reflection, I bounced back the following year to win the junior title in 2017 in Rotterdam. So so that was from slums to riches for me, I guess, as you can say. And then after that, 2017 was a bit of a whirlwind. Obviously, being selected in the Commonwealth Games to compete on the Gold Coast here, my hometown and my home city. So that was probably the highlight of my career so far. The atmosphere was absolutely incredible there. Just having everyone supporting. I remember going for a warm down jog after the individual race where I missed out on third by 2 seconds to Scotland's Mark Austin, obviously. And just going out in the warm down jog out on the running course, and to see everyone there still lining the streets and still cheering me on, half an hour to an hour after the race had finished, was just a surreal moment for me, and something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life for sure.
Did it give you a taste of, I want more of this?
Definitely, yeah. Well, I mean, finishing fourth by 2 seconds definitely gave me a taste of. I definitely wanted more, and the relay gold was a bit of consolation, I guess you could say. But it's always nice to do well in your individual race, and I did that. I set out to give it my best, and if I was in that top group, then I'd give it a good crack. And fortunately, I was able to do so, but unfortunately, just off the podium. But we won't let that simmer too badly.
No, and I must ask, Matt, how the heck are you? Because obviously Gold Coast amazing and everything that happened there, but then not too long after, you ended up in hospital. So how are you? How's the recovery and the rehab going? What happened?
Yeah, it was crazy how it all happened. Hey, it was obviously came down from the high of racing in the Commonwealth Games, and then I had to kind of kick on to the WTS season of Yokohama and did my first ever Olympic distance race there, which was it hurt a lot. I can tell you that much. And then basically a week later, after I got back to the Gold Coast, started to get back into a training routine after racing in Japan, and I was just on like a 90-minute training ride, just a cruisy one out with my mates, and we kind of crested this hill and we're going down, and a couple of cars were parked on the left side of the road. And as we were descending at about 45, 50k an hour, probably a middle-aged lady opened her door unexpectedly, and I went straight into it and went straight through the glass window, and dislocated my shoulder, broke my hand, and that was pretty much my season right then and there. It was a difficult pill to swallow after obviously achieving so much earlier on in the year, but I guess that's what kind of made the emotional side of things a little bit better. Knowing that I'd achieved something at the Commonwealth Games, and then obviously had that happen. So it kind of came at as good a time as any, I guess.
When you landed in a heap, did you think the worst? Did you think, well, career over or whatever, or did you know, okay, I've got real bad pain in my hand and my shoulder?
Yeah, I definitely didn't think season over for me. I could definitely feel that my shoulder was dislocated, and I'd grown up watching Australian football or playing Australian Football League, which is probably our main sport over here. And I see those guys come off with dislocated shoulders all the time and get back straight on like the following week or so. So I'm walking away from the crash trying to like manipulate it back into place, just going, it'll be fine. Like heaps of adrenaline running through me. And little did I know it was a little bit more serious than that. I ended up having to have 2 rounds of surgery, one on my hand and one on my shoulder, and a full reconstruction on my shoulder. The surgeon said it would set me back about 4 to 6 months of full training. So that was definitely a difficult pill to swallow after he told me that, because I thought it'd just be put the shoulder back into place, have a couple of weeks rest and straight back into it. But obviously there was a bit of long-term damage that needed to be fixing before that happened.
When they do like complete shoulder reconstruction, what the heck do they do? And like, are you still in pain now, or?
Good question. No, I'm definitely not in pain now. There's a little bit of discomfort with physiotherapy at the moment, just trying to get some full range back to my shoulder. But basically, what they did keyhole surgery. So they entered in two places, one on the front side of the shoulder, one on the back side of the shoulder, and basically sewed the labrum back on, which is a bit of soft tissue casing that kind of keeps the joint and the socket in place. So it keeps it from slipping out again. So basically, in order for me to have the lowest risk possible of me redislocating it, they had to, surgically sew it back on with some sugar rope, I think, which dissolves in a couple of months, which is pretty cool, I guess.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is quite amazing.
And how has the rehab been going? Because obviously for someone who, it's your livelihood, triathlon, moving, training, running, swimming, biking, it's what you do. So how hard has that been for you to have to be, in a sling, and have you been able to do much?
Yeah, I guess triathlon, we're training, 15, 16 times a week, probably more. So to go from doing everything in a week to doing basically nothing was very, very tough on the mind. I went back home to where I grew up in Harvey Bay. My parents are still there now. And it was kind of a good time just to relax and spend time with them. And my dad had just recently retired from work. So I was spending a lot of time with him, going down to the beach, grabbing coffees. So quite a relaxing lifestyle. It was definitely, hard to go from, doing everything, as I said, to doing nothing. So, but then slowly but surely I started to do a bit more things. I went to the gym and hopped on the recumbent bike, which is basically where you sit back and go for a normal ride, stationary ride, I guess, which is a bit easier when I had my arm in the sling. And then I got my sling off, which was a big relief. Came back to the Gold Coast and started doing some basic leg work in the gym and starting to get into a bit more of a routine. But I think the thing I've taken away from this whole experience out of everything is definitely just, taking all the positives out of the situation. Like, I've had a couple of mates' birthdays that I wouldn't have been able to go to if I was overseas racing, and, special moments where I went to a few weddings, my cousin's wedding, and just situations like that where I guess you just have to take a step back and realize that, that these moments don't come around often in life, and to be able to embrace it and enjoy it like while I can was great. And just also not being in like a constant routine, just being relaxed and kind of taking it day by day and not having the pressure or stress of I have to hit this benchmark for this race or anything. So it was quite good.
Your cousin and your friends, when you suddenly said, "Oh, by the way, I will be around for that," they must have been like, "Oh no, we hadn't factored you in. Like, you can never make anything."
Yeah, exactly. It was bittersweet for them, I guess. It was bitter for them hearing about my accident, but then also having me there in those occasions. I'm definitely very absent at family occasions lately. With my triathlon schedule, but yeah, it was great that I could take that time to be there for them, for sure.
Is the main goal for you now then making the Australian team for Tokyo for the Olympics?
Definitely, yeah. That's why I said this kind of came at as good a time as any, because it's I ticked off that Commonwealth Games, and then there's this period here, this World Champs campaign this year, where World Champs is great and it's big at the time, but in the long term of things, it's not as big as we work it up to be. And I think with the trials coming up mid next year, with the test event obviously in Japan, that'll be my major focus now, and I probably won't get back to racing until maybe at the end of this year, but probably more likely at the start of next year, doing a few Super League races. So I guess it's good timing, and it'll allow me to kind of take my time in getting back into things and not having to rush things with the shoulder and everything. So, yeah.
When Super League first was on Hamilton Island, am I right in saying that basically you really wanted to do it and they wanted you to be there, but the ITU were like, he's too young, is that right? Correct,
yeah. There was a bit of confusion with things. I remember having several conversations with Chris McCormack on the phone, saying he's a bit umming and ahhing whether he can get it all together. And I'm just like, well, mate, I'm here, I'm fit, I'm ready to race. Like, if it all works out, I'll put my hand up. It's a 2-hour flight away, so I'll definitely be there if it all works out. And thankfully it did. There was a few people working in the background to try and make it happen, which I'm so thankful for. And to be able to get there and to race those guys, I think it really set up my 2017 season and allowed me to grow as an athlete, because I kind of came in, as a bit of a fanboy, looking up to these guys like Moeller and Javier and Brownlee. So yeah, it was a big deal for me being there, and to be able to knock off a few of those guys as well in the racing was a big confidence boost, and kind of made me realize that, these guys are, flesh and blood just like the rest of us. So that when you get on that start line, we're all there wanting the same thing, and that's to win. So definitely a few lessons to take out of that, and I can't thank Chris and the team at Super League enough for allowing me to race that, because I think it really set up my year and to be selected in the Commonwealth Games even. So yeah.
Were you nervous on that first race, the first time you were lining up on the start line with all those big names around you, thinking, oh my God, I'm actually here?
Yeah, I knew I would be. I would say it's a natural thing to get nervous before a race, and especially on that stage and being broadcasted around the world. But I kind of just tried to embrace everything about the experience. Like I'd come up to the guys and, try and, get in conversations and really, immerse myself in the culture. These guys had been racing each other on the I2 circuit for a number of years now. So, it was kind of a bit of a foot in the door, I guess. And I tried to make it feel as natural as possible. And when I got on that start line, it was just like any other race, I guess. There wasn't any huge expectations on me. I was wearing the white jersey of the wild card, so I was coming in pretty fearless, and the course and the heat was very tough. I'll give it that, but it was an amazing experience.
Let's go back to the Commonwealth Games then. No, actually, let's go to Hamburg, okay, a mixed relay, because you're amazing at mixed relay. And do you think part of that is the fact that it is very much, apart from being Nicholas Spirig, who's just incredible, it is very much like a young person's game?
Definitely. All full credit to Nicholas Spirig, because she's still killing the game. But I think it's definitely a young person's sport. It's very fast twitch fibre, and you have to be on the ball, and little things like transition and all the 1%ers count. We saw Tyler Misselchuk in Canada and Edmonton catch up like 10 seconds or something just in the run into the water. So all those little things count, and I think going hell for leather is kind of my style of racing at the moment. My experience in Yokohama wasn't great. I hated the Olympic distance racing, but I know it's something that I've got to get used to in the future.
I was going to say, it might be quite important.
It will be very important, but for now I find myself really loving the mixed team relay format, and to be able to share it with 3 other countrymen, especially in the Commonwealth Games and in Hamburg, obviously, that was a massive thing. Just to kind of feel that team camaraderie, and it's basically 4 individual legs, but you're competing as a team. You're feeling the emotions of the team. You're going through that roller coaster of feelings with each other. So it's a pretty amazing thing, and I think it's been well received by the public. Until it
During the Commonwealth Games, Ryan Sissons of New Zealand was the first one, I think, or within the Kiwi team, wasn't it, to have the shoes, as in they didn't... The shoes. They didn't change from bike shoes to run shoes. They wore the same for both. Were you aware of any of that going on? Did you see any of them and you're thinking, shit, like how the hell... They literally in and out of transition.
Yeah, it was weird because everyone was like talking to me about it after the race, and I was like, "Wait, what? Like, what do they do?" It was just such a foreign concept to me, and they obviously kept it quite under wraps, which I give them credit for, because like Sissons and Taylor Reid, they both killed it, and definitely played a factor in getting that 3rd place on the dais. So Yeah, well, my mind and my eyes were at the front of the race with, Great Britain and Oz, but to see them do that was pretty cool, I guess, to see a new format and to see guys and nations like that come up with different strategies like that. I think it's pretty cool and it should be accepted, because obviously you want to do everything you can within the rules to win. So
it's such a shame though, isn't it? Because obviously if, like on a flat course like the Gold Coast, it worked very well. On a very hilly course, it might not be so beneficial, but it's almost like it's a sort of trump card that you can't play that many times because everyone else can do the same.
Exactly. Yeah. Eventually, people start to catch on, and I think they had some designer or some engineer come in and do it all for them. So credit to them. They've got the resources that they'll do it, and we'll try and combat it with the best guys that we can on the day. So let the best man win.
And so, obviously, Australia are sort of defending world. No, they're not, because Hamburg's been and gone again, hasn't it?
Not anymore. Yeah, that's it. The tides have turned. So yeah,
it happens like that, doesn't it?
It's crazy.
It goes really, really quickly. But then I guess you'll be looking to get that title back.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, 2019 is going to be a massive year, obviously with Tokyo around the corner, and I think a lot of countries are going to start trialing different people in different positions, and I think it's a great thing that they have the WTS mixed team relay circuit at the moment, and other kind of like country cups around as well, like Great Britain are doing, and obviously the Major League Tri over in America as well. So I think it gives a lot more opportunity for teams to trial things and really make sure that the team's on the A ball when it comes to Tokyo. So yeah.
Do you think now as well that when it comes down to selection for Tokyo, they will actually, selectors from the different governing bodies will actually take the mixed relay into consideration?
Most definitely, yeah. I've heard things that people are like starting to specialise in mixed team relay, even to the point of that's how they're going to get selection. So it's going to be that's where discretion comes down to it, I think, and finding a good balance between your individual spot, but then also taking into account your mixed team relay spot. And I think that was a big factor in myself being selected for the 2018 Commonwealth Games even. So yeah, I 100% think that governing bodies will start doing that.
And would you be happy to go to Tokyo again, primarily for mixed relay?
Look, I want to be there 100%, and I'll do whatever it takes. And if they select me for mixed relay, they select me for mixed relay. If they select me for both, then I'll take it. So I'll definitely be doing whatever I can. Obviously, the individual has a lot more prestige around it, I guess. So I'd love to be in that team just as equally as I'd love to be in the mixed team relay team.
Gold Coast then is going to be the grand final very soon. You're a local boy. What tips would you have for the many age groupers who will be heading out there? First of all, for the course, what kind of tips? How can you give them a little bit of a helping hand? Yeah,
the course. I think I've raced there maybe twice or three times. One of them being the Commonwealth Games, and it's obviously a very flat course. The bike's pretty nonchalant when it comes to a hill profile. There's nothing much to it. It's going to be pretty technical, I guess, with the cornering and stuff like that, and certainly that made a big difference in the wet in the Commonwealth Games as well, when the roads were quite wet because of the rain. So that'll play a factor. Obviously, the technicality of the course. The run course will be quick. It'll be fast. It'll be flat. Same with the bike course. So. And it'll be hot as well, so it's not in summer, but it's still going to be like mid-20s to high 20s, I reckon. So prepare for the heat for sure. The swim's a swim, right? It's a pontoon start. I think for age groupers as well. So the swim will be a bit of a non-factor as well, but it should be good fun in the sun.
Good fun in the sun.
A lot of sun.
Yeah, a lot of sun. And for people who are heading out there, maybe haven't been to the Gold Coast before, what should they do in the days when they are not racing?
Good question. Stay away from Surfers Paradise. No, I reckon obviously the beaches are very lovely. Heading down south near Burleigh Way or even Currumbin and Coolangatta, down south closer to New South Wales is very beautiful, and Byron Bay as well has got a really relaxed surfy vibe to it. But also then you've got the hinterland on the west side of the Gold Coast with the hills, and it's quite nice up Beachmont and up a few of the I wouldn't really call them mountains, I'd call them big hills, and quite a few scenic rainforests and waterfalls as well. So there's a lot of things to do from coast to hills, so it's good.
Have City of Gold Coast Tourism yet got you on board, Matt, to sell it?
Yeah, I'm just going to plug them in here at the end of the podcast.
You could though, right? Because you're not going to be racing, are you?
Yeah, look, I'd do whatever to be involved in it because it's going to be a massive event and obviously a big draw card for the economy. So, yeah, whatever I can do to help out the event, it's going to be massive. So, yeah, I know, like, for the Com Games, for example, Aaron Royal obviously, unfortunately, didn't get selected, but he put his hand up to be commentator, which I think was really, really great of him. Still having that passion for the sport, and as much as it hurt him not to be selected, he still put his hand up and got involved with the event. So that was pretty cool to see.
I remember standing sort of near the finish area of the triathlon, and I was stood by quite a few of the local, I guess they would have been like volunteers or what sort of officials, and they were getting so excited for you, and they were like, "Oh, it's Maddie Hauser! It's Maddie Hauser! Go on, Maddie Hauser!"
Yeah, look, the volunteers were awesome. Like, apparently they're not allowed to come up and ask for photos and autographs and stuff like that, but they didn't care about that. They came up, and I was more than happy to get around them. They were fantastic support, and obviously, I think they had something ridiculous, like they had to turn down like 2,000 volunteers or 1,500 volunteers because there was just so much response to it. So, yeah, look, I think the way the community got around the event was absolutely incredible and made us Aussies race just as hard. So, yeah.
And they were so proud of you being the local boy as well, and they were just like, "Oh, he's the nicest guy."
Don't listen to them. No, they were great. Yeah. Oh well, my mum was one of the volunteers, so it's probably her.
Maybe it was your mum, or one of your mum's friends or something, just getting very excited.
Yeah. Classic.
Did you feel a bit more pressure going into the Commonwealth Games? Because, like, I remember looking at the Gold Coast Bulletin, which would be the local paper, and you'd be plastered all over that.
Yeah. Look, I didn't. Obviously, being a local boy, I was kind of thrown into the spotlight a little bit more. Just, I guess, for ease of use for the media, I guess. Being here based on the Gold Coast, but I think I kind of had this stigma around me that I was like the young kind of underdog coming into the team, and I was primarily picked for the relay team. So, and then obviously Jake Burt who was a legitimate medal chance, which he obviously came out to do so. He kind of had the spotlight around him as being, the successor out of the males. So that was kind of good in a sense that it kind of made me stay out of the spotlight in that sense and kind of just do my thing. And yeah, it ended up working out well. I didn't feel too much pressure out in the day. I treated it like any other race, and I performed. So yeah, no, it was a great day out.
Over a just standalone foot race, would you and Jake be pretty close?
Oh, look, I'd like to think so, but no, the way he's finishing at the moment, it'd be pretty crazy. Like we could be like neck and neck, and there'd be 100 meters to go, and he could beat me by 30 seconds, I reckon. So the way he's going at the moment, but yeah, look, he's obviously a very talented runner, and as many people have said, he's one of the best runners in the sport of triathlon. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Tokyo. Obviously, being a flat run-specific course as well. So
it's going to be really exciting, isn't it?
It's super exciting. It's amazing how things roll around. It's like just yesterday it was Rio, and now we're on the road to Tokyo. So it's crazy.
That's it. And then, a number of like your Gomez's, he's going to be going to Kona, and it's almost like it's natural. It's a natural thing that happens. But that cycle every 4 years, it does change, doesn't it? And new people do come in, and even at the moment here we've got the European Athletics Championships going on, and there's this 17-year-old from Norway who just won the 1500 and the 5000, and I was thinking, oh my god, like when the 2012 Olympics were on, he would have been 11. I mean, it's
incredible.
Just mad.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah, Jacob Ingebrigtsen, he was an absolute animal out there on the European circuit. So he's been killing it, and as you said, I think the changing of the guard is obviously happening. I don't know, there's question marks to whether Alistair will kick on for another Olympics. I reckon he will, because he'd be too selfish to let it go to anyone else. So, but yeah, obviously Javier Gomez stepping up to long course, and Mola coming through. He's been absolutely dominant on the circuit, and Vincent Louis is starting to pick up some really good form at the moment as well. So. I guess you could say it's the changing of the guard. Hopefully I'm in amongst it. I'm in amongst the changing of the guard.
You just got to learn to love the Olympic distance.
Exactly. Yeah, I got to learn to grit my teeth through 10k of running. That's it.
If you weren't a triathlete, would you be an AFL player? Would you be an Aussie Rules player?
Maybe, but I don't know. Last Aussie Rules game I played, I got knocked out and had 3 stitches in my head. So. It certainly comes with its disadvantages, in terms of injuries and stuff. So I really enjoyed cricket of a young age as well. So I'd say maybe the cricket or Aussie Rules. If I beefed up a little bit, I'd probably need to put it stack on a few kegs before that happened.
Weren't you in the I can't even talk, in an academy, in the Brisbane Academy? Yeah,
I was in the Brisbane Lions Academy. I think there was like a talent identification at one of the state schools championships, and I was lucky enough to get a call up, and I don't know whether they picked me for skill or whether they picked me because I had a good 5k time. I don't know, but we'll never know. I guess that was a pretty short-lived career, but it was certainly good fun, and I do miss team sports, and I think that's why I respond so well to the mixed team relay, because it's just that atmosphere and that feeling towards it. So yeah.
And what will your off season look like, or is it just going to be a shed load more rehab to get you fit and fighting and raring to go and get that sort of shoulder and hand back and sorted?
Look, I reckon my off season was when I was in a sling, so yeah. I think it's a bit of a hard road ahead in terms of getting back fitness, but I've got time on my side, so I think it's just all about taking the time and getting things back to where they should be. I think it's also a good time to work on the 1%ers, like the strength in the gym and the core and stability as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then maybe doing a bit of work on my run technique as well. That's been lacking, especially in the 10k distance where the efficiency is really what counts. So I think it's a good time to go back to the drawing board and work on a few weaknesses and come back firing for 2019.
He's a good lad, isn't he?
Oh,
I really loved his attitude of being so patient about the timings and accepting what the doctors had told him, and how he sort of said, "Look, well, I'm gonna use the time to go and do stuff like go to friends' weddings and stuff that I don't get to do, during the rest of the time." And I think the idea of he's almost turned it into a thing he can be grateful for. This thing has happened. Yeah. There's no point moaning about it. I'm going to go and do some stuff I can't usually do. And I love that. Ultimately, once you've controlled what you can and you've been as smart as you can about it, then you go and find things to be grateful about. So I thought, what a top guy. And do you know what? Loads of us can learn stuff from that, because how many of us have put off doing things during the year when we've got important races coming up, and then it gets to the end of the year and we think, oh God, I wish I could have gone and done this. So,
Oh, totally.
yeah, I'm very impressed with the young man. I kept reminding myself that is he just 20?
He's honestly, he's really
He's got a
really young.
wise head on his shoulders, hasn't he? For someone
That was
age.
that was what I thought when I sort of came away from the interview. I thought, wow, like he is, he is young, but what a guy.
Yeah, he's a good fella.
Yeah.
Okay, right then we'll jump over. There's a few bits and bobs of news that I've noticed. So first up, and most people have seen this already, poor old Jan Frodeno is out of Kona with a fractured hip. Is that right?
Rob, I can't relate to the fact that I'm out of Kona because I was never going to go to Kona. But I can relate with the hip thing. Oh, yeah. Horrible. It's just, because this is the thing, it's just such gutting timing, isn't it? Because he's been
an amazing
flying,
season, hasn't he? Yeah.
That is the thing. He's absolutely flying, and that World Championship, the 70.3 win in South Africa recently was just sort of total stamp of authority and control. And hey, yeah, I am the man to beat.
Well, I want him back in top shape for next year because hopefully Ali Brownlee will be in Kona next year. So we'll have the two of them and Gomez and all the rest of the crew, or the rest of the usual crew, smacking it out at the front as well.
That's what we want to see. That is what we want to see, isn't it? And you mentioned one of them there, Rob, Javier Gomez, in response. He's such a classy guy, isn't he? He tweeted, wishing Jan Frodeno a speedy recovery. Injuries suck, but I'm sure you will be back soon. Great season, nevertheless. What a guy.
Yeah, very great. Very gracious of him. Now, another piece of news I don't know if you saw this, Hells. Kipchoge broke the marathon world record in Berlin this weekend.
Yes. I did see that.
He ran 2:01. Oh, I've lost the thing with it. 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds. Right? He closed with a 60-minute 34 half marathon in the second half. Negative split. Legend.
Oh,
brilliant.
Did you know, Rob, I love this fact that comes after that particular time. 60 minutes and 34 seconds is a time that only 2 Britons have ever run in a half marathon.
Wow. The guy's a legend.
Incredible, isn't it? What you should do with that is actually see some of the comparison tables which have been drawn up about how far you could probably stick with him for if you were running at the pace that he ran. And Rob, I think I could probably stick with him for about 20 metres.
Yeah, I don't think we'd get much further than the first 400, would we?
No, I wouldn't even get 400.
I think you would. I think you could do 400 metres at that pace, yeah. I think it's about 14.5-minute 5k pace. So
I don't know if I could. I just have such a weird pacing mechanism or inability to... I don't know. I really don't know if I could.
Oh, well.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I'm never going to have to.
I don't think we're going to have to try it anyway, are we?
No, I don't.
Okay, what's this fact about Annette Burrows then?
Yeah, well, Rob, this weekend was you've heard of, and a lot of people that we know have done the brutal triathlons in North Wales, so around Llyn where they do the Slate Man kind of race. This is a different company, but yeah, they have a brutal, they have a double brutal, and Annette Burrows, Rob, was first lady at the double Iron Triathlon in 43 hours and 8 minutes.
Wowzers.
So the double is a 4.8 mile swim, 231 or just under 232 miles on the bike, and then a 51 mile run.
Yowzers. Wow. And it concludes by going up and down Mount Snowdon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of laps of the lake.
Because of the weather. Yeah, this year because of the weather at some point during it, they had to change because the weather was so bad and conditions were too dangerous to have that sort of high mountain section. So they ended up putting the distance in of like around the lake, and you could sort of see people saying that was just so lonely and awful and horrible. So, yeah, incredible. You should go and check it out at Brutal Events and just read a little bit more about it if you're in the market for something ridiculously tough, but incredibly low key and I've only ever heard good things about it, then go and check out the Brutal.
Good stuff. Right then, we've got one more little interview for you this week. Got a kind of double bonus here. We've got an extra little interview that you picked up, haven't we, Hells?
Yes, because Rob, we couldn't speak to Nikki Bartlett at the finish line at Ironman Wales last weekend because she was really not in a fit state to talk. So here we go. Here is a little catch up with our regular friend of the show, Nikki Bartlett.
Hello, how are you? Last time I saw you, you were not in the best place. A few days on, nearly a week on. How are you now?
Yeah, no, so it's what day is it now? Friday. So yeah, I feel loads better. Like, I was an absolute mess. I knew I was going to get into that state if I was, with 25k to go, I was not in a good place. And I thought, if I get to that line, I'm not going to be in a good fit state. So I knew it was going to come. And to be honest, on that last lap of the run, I sat down at the aid station, there was some medics there and people like I just couldn't focus. So with 10k to go up that massive hill, with not being able to focus properly on anything, I knew I was going to be in a mess. But you run down that finish line, you're like, oh, as per in any race, you're like, oh, I feel amazing. And then I can remember Joe saying, turn around and say thanks to the crowd. So I turned around and gave a wave. And honestly, and then after that, I was like, oh my God, I need to lie down. And then that was me gone.
Do you know what on earth happened?
No, I just remember, I was on the bike and I felt absolutely brilliant. I was like, I'm going to have a good day here. Like 3.5 hours in and I was still riding really conservatively. And then I got to about 4 hours and I was like, God, I do not feel good. Like, I'm not sure what's going on, but I don't feel good. So yeah, the last hour and a half, and then between hours 4 and 5, I didn't feel good. But then the last half an hour, I was like, oh no, I'm fine again, come through it. And then I got on the run and I was like, I feel really good. Like, I felt so good. So I was like, just jogging, because I was like, always take the first lap really easy. So I was taking the first lap really easy. I was running with Camilla and we were just having a chat, really, as you do. But I wanted to make sure that first lap was really easy. So we were just talking, and honestly, my breathing was like really low, absolutely fine. And I was like, I'm going to have a really good day here. Like, I just felt really good. And then suddenly, literally, going up on the second loop, all of my legs seized up. And I've never, ever had that. I obviously might have had that in the last, 4 or 5k of a run, but you've only got 4 or 5k, so just get on with it. But I've never had that ever seize up, so I had no idea. And then my whole body just shut down. And I was like, I've still got 25k to go, and I am not in a good fit state. So I was just like, oh my God. And it just, then my goal shifted, and it was just like, get to the line. If you can hold off third place, then that's a bonus. But my goal then was just to get to the line.
How did you get through that last 25k?
The crowds, they are amazing. Like, it is without a doubt the best race I've ever done. Nothing's really come close. Well, there are amazing races, but Wales is just something completely special. And until you've done it, or maybe until you've just been there amongst the crowds, you'd have no idea what it's like. Like, it has to be on everyone's bucket list. I know it's a really tough, even the swim feels uphill, and then T1 is 1k uphill. I mean, everything feels like an uphill drag, but it is just amazing. And the town, I've never seen a town embrace a race so much. Like, when we checked in, everyone's like, oh, you're doing the Ironman, and everyone just loves it.
Everyone's done it.
I know, it's just incredible. Like, I'm 100% making sure I go back at least, I just want to go back every year, but it just sits at a really awkward time of year for pros and kind of Kona, but never say never to do the double Wales and Kona. But I bounced back actually. I feel really good actually right now. I've got a bit of dilemma of which race to choose next weekend, but I'll talk to you off the podcast on that one.
That's fine. And so on the run, we obviously saw you, and at one point you were running in second.
Yeah.
And then when did Camilla sort of come past you? Because at one point she was running second, then you were second, and then she was back in second, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was that's why sometimes I'm so annoyed that my body just was like, no more, because it would have been such a fun battle. There's not that many times you get off the bike and you're that close to someone. and running with someone, because we were pretty evenly matched. And I was like, this is going to be well exciting. And I felt like I was, in a comfortable position. So I went past her, and then I went up the hill on the, and then I had a minute on her within up the hill, and I was like, brilliant, this is amazing. And literally at the top of that hill, my body just went boom, no. And I was like, oh my God, like this has never happened this early. I mean, I don't know, like it probably doesn't have really anything to do with it, but I was sick a couple of times in the city. I came out on my first lap. Bex just said the sick was just all down my face. Wetsuit, I was like, that is disgusting. But because in the moment, like I'd almost forgot I'd been sick until she said that was disgusting. Like you could have wiped your mouth coming out. Oh yeah, I forgot. So yeah, that was my breakfast coming up. And then I got on the bike and I was like, I don't feel that. Like I feel just like, I didn't feel sick, I felt seasick. So I didn't have anything for about the first half an hour on the bike. Well, actually, no, I was having liquid calories on the first half. But I felt there was absolutely no point in the first 4 hours of the bike where I didn't feel comfortable. I was like, absolutely fine. So I don't think that had too much to do with it. But then it always does catch up with you if you've lost your breakfast. So yeah, I don't really know. But it's Ironman and anything can happen. And the problem is on Wales, if you completely shut down, you've still got a 2-mile hill to climb. Well, I had 2 more times to get through that, and it's not like the going down is. I think going down is probably the harder part because your legs are just getting smashed even more. So I was like trying to slow myself down on the downs, and I was like, oh my God. And then the town is just so twisty turny, and you actually go up another out and back hill. So it's not the easiest of courses to shuffle on. That's probably one of the main issues. But yeah, I mean, you can never underestimate. Personally, get into the line in an Ironman and being able to race majority of the race. It's just the last part for me. So yeah.
Were you aware where Heather Wurtell was?
No, I hadn't. To be honest, I went past her on the bike, and we were just so focused on second spot, and when my body completely shut down, I was like, oh my God, like I thought she dropped out because I hadn't seen her. I don't know how I couldn't see, like I don't know, maybe I was just that spaced out, and I started my last lap and I was pretty much walking because I was like, I can't actually pick my feet up off the ground. And so I was walking, and Bex I was like, okay, I don't want to lie to you, but you don't have time to walk. And I was like, oh my God, what? Who's behind me? He's like, Heather's like 5 minutes back. And you'd think 5 minutes on the 10K, absolutely fine, like there's no chance. But that was the state I was in. I was like, that is easy to catch me on the state I'm in. So I was like, oh my God. So I was like, just imagine it. So my body's completely shut down. I have no real pace. And you know when you get the hands out and you point them, like you're sprinting. So I got my hands out and I was pumping my arms like I was sprinting at stupid pace. I probably was going like 12 minutes a mile up this hill. And I felt like an absolute idiot. I was like, oh my God, I must be like hardly moving. And I just had to keep, and I was like, just keep putting one foot in front of another. Because as soon as I started to walk, she'd be catching loads of times. So I was like, just don't walk. And I was like, you're only allowed to walk the aid stations. So yeah, that was, and then I got to the finish line. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. I'd have been distraught if I'd lost that third place as well. There's one thing, your body not being able to fight for where you think you can go to. And then if you were to keep dropping back places as well, that would just be another level.
What did Camilla say to you after the race?
I remember her coming up and shaking my hand, and that's about it. And then I went to medical, and I was in there, and I was really spaced out, and they came in, they were like, oh, we're about to do the podium without you? And I was like, no, I'm going on that podium, like just fought for 10 hours plus out there. There's no way I'm not going on that podium, so they brought me back out, and then I couldn't get on the podium. Like, I don't know if you were there for that bit.
Yeah, I was there. I was looking after your rucksack.
I kept losing that rucksack ever. I was like, who's got my rucksack? It's got all my clothes in it. Yeah, so it was like I couldn't get on the podium. So like, I think the medics like literally just pushed me on, And then I had that moment. And then after that, I was like, oh my god, now I feel really awful.
You did look bad on the podium.
Yeah, I didn't feel great.
You looked so spaced out. I don't even know. How did you open the champagne? Did they sort of semi-open it for you?
Yeah, it was a little bit open, and I was like, oh my god, I'm freezing cold. I'm not with it, and we're about to spray champagne. But luckily, our accommodation is like 5-minute walk from the finish line. So I just literally went back, and I think I just fell to sleep in the shower. I was like, oh my god, my body. I literally couldn't, when you can't get upstairs, like you literally physically can't apply pressure to your quads.
Were you okay again come Monday morning?
Like my body was I literally couldn't get to the toilet or sit on the toilet or get up the stairs without the banister. Probably until Wednesday, and then now I've got a run and a bike and a swim today actually. But now I feel absolutely fine. So yeah, I'm definitely racing next weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. I've got to decide which one. But probably by the time you put this out, I would have decided. In fact, I would have definitely decided, because I'm deciding on Sunday.
Okay. And where does third place leave you to do with the new Kona qualifying?
I think this is why I was so because I wouldn't have cared where I came had I been able to put together the run. I was literally 17 minutes off my target, and that target time I thought was completely realistic. I could have gone faster. So obviously it was a lot slower than planned. And that's why I was so disappointed, because I was like, oh god, if I'd had that battle and comes, because if you put everything you can together and you come third, fourth, wherever, then I'm satisfied. But yeah, just because I know that wasn't what I could produce. So, and I kind of thought Lucy would reject a slot, because now the new system is basically if you win, you're in. But obviously it gets a bit more complex in that in championship races, top 2 win a spot, but then the top 3 from Kona that year automatically qualify. So then obviously, Lucy rejects, and it rolls down like it does for age groupers. So Camilla then accepted her spot. So say I raced Camilla next weekend, I'm on Italy, and she won, and I came second because she's already got a place. Yeah. I would get the spot. So yeah, it kind of works exactly the same as age groupers now. So yeah, and Ironman Wales is the first race of that system for next year.
So therefore, will you be doing another Ironman, I don't know, over the next 2 months?
Well, this is my decision, because I'm down for Ironman Italy and Ironman Weymouth 70.3 next weekend.
Fine, okay. Well, we will find out, and we will update people.
Yeah, so I'm going to go for a semi-long run on Sunday and make a decision after that. But I feel okay, but it would just be, that extra travel and actually putting together an Ironman. And I think there's one flight we can get. So I'll see how the body goes, because sometimes you feel fine a few days after that Ironman, then you come crashing down. I think I always say week 3 and week 4 my worst weeks after an Ironman. I can remember when I did Edinburgh, because I did Lanzarote, then 2 weeks later Stats, and I felt amazing. And then after that, week 3, 4, and 5 was awful. I felt awful doing Edinburgh 70.3, and I was like, oh my god. So I think 2 weeks after you can get away with it, and after that I slowly think your fitness starts to come off and it just starts to hit you. So I've got that to look forward to.
So hopefully by the time this goes out, we will know what you're doing.
Yeah, I am into a few more races. I'd like to do Lanzarote 70.3 as well, which is in not too long. So 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks. So yeah, I've got a few more races coming up.
And Nikki, previously, where 70.3s would obviously count towards Kona qualification. Yeah. Now, what are the benefits of doing 70.3s for you? Well,
so now there's, I think, I actually did find out that system is now the same for 70.2. So if I want to go to 70.3 Worlds, I think that's the same. You've got a winner over in a race. And it's in Nice next year. And actually the course at the moment, looking at the course would suit me. It's a nice hilly bike. which I'd prefer. So I'm not ruling that out next year. I really wish I'd done South Africa this year, but it was just bad timing for Wales. So needs might, but yeah, I guess no points. But I love race. You can race more 70.3s. Like you could probably do 2 or 3 Ironmans a year, but with the prize money being so like awful, especially like Ironman Lanzarote prize money is so bad. Like we actually lost money coming third. It's just it is just ridiculous. So you can't just rely on those 3 Ironmans for prize money because you're not even going to be able to pay the bills. So yeah, I need to race more. So doing 70.3s is and if you time them like Weymouth is obviously a home race, there's not much expenditure. So that's why I might choose Weymouth over Italy, just because financially it might be a better decision for us. And then I have 2 or 3 Ironmans I really want to do next year. I do, even though the prize money is horrendous and the sea swim, the last start is one of the most horrendous experiences of my life. I do fancy going back to Ironman Lanzarote. I really enjoy the course and it's well supported. So yeah, I am tempted to do Italy. Like I do feel all right now, and I know I'm fit enough to do it. It's just, yeah, if I've got the guts to go do 2 Ironmans back to back, because if it didn't go to plan, I think mentally I'd just be absolutely destroyed. So, and I do love I literally love the home races. Like I love it. So I would feel like I'm missing out not doing Weymouth and just go to both on the same weekend.
I love this dilemma. Right, we're going to chat. We're going to discuss this dilemma. I'm going to press stop. But Nikki, as ever, it's really good to catch up, and I'm glad that you're doing all right.
Thanks very much. I wish I could have chatted to you on the finish line. She just got a chat in the wheelchair.
I might have got thrown away from that as well.
Obviously, ridiculously tough. And in that, she did say towards the end there that she's got a bit of a dilemma between what race to do next, whether it was going to be Ironman Italy or 70.3 Weymouth, and she has actually said that she's made that decision, so she's going to do 70.3 Weymouth, and then 2 weeks later she's going to do 70.3 Lanzarote.
All right then, Hells, what have you been up to this week then? What's been going on in Hell's world?
A splash and dash in Devon, Rob. But a very big splash and a long old dash in plain English.
Tell us how far it was. How far have you swum this weekend?
Well, Rich and I did the Dart 10K swim, which is, guess what? It's a 10-kilometre swim down the River Dart. Thankfully.
So, down the river, but how much do you get any current assistance? Does that help you?
Yes, you definitely do. And I think, having done the maths, right, so it took me 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Okay.
Now, I
so
think...
it's not that much current assistance, is it then, really?
Well, I reckon maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe, quicker than...
Yeah, or maybe, I suppose,
That's what I thought. When I did the maths, I kind of thought, it would be around about 15 to 20 minutes, I think, different.
It's not the kind of thing I was hoping for, though. I was hoping it's going to be like swimming down a motorway and you'd be done in like no time at all.
Well, there were certain bits, genuinely, and I was thinking, this is amazing. This must be what it's like for Lucy Charles on a normal day. I don't know. It seems a bit of a blur, Rob. We started at about 11:30, and then I was out the water. 2 hours, 28 minutes later. There are 2 feed stations along the way, so it was very much right. Swim 4K, eat jelly babies, and they have it like on a floating pontoon, different bottles of water, and volunteers on the pontoon handing out jelly babies. And then you'd swim another 4K and you can get more jelly babies, or maybe banana or some brownie or something like that. And then you have like the last 2K or a bit over 2K. And oh my God, that bit was the hardest bit, I think, because you're sort of thinking, oh, well, we're nearly there. But that bit just felt like it went on forever.
Like a traditional trip to Devon. Are we nearly there yet?
Yeah, totally. Like you get to Exeter and you think, yay, we're in Devon. Oh, no, we've still got about an hour to go, or, an hour and a half to go. And then you got a hot chocolate at the very end in a mug. It was so nice.
Oh, brilliant.
and they had a hot tub as well. Didn't spot that until after I had got changed. Error.
Oh, dear.
And I have such a sore neck now. Such a sore neck.
They're like chafing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, bless
It's
you.
really sore. Like I felt it starting to rub.
Oh,
And I
it
tried
gets sore
using
so
a buff.
quickly as well, doesn't it?
Oh my God. I started to feel it at around about 4K, and I was thinking, oh no, this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
And I knew it was sore after, we did the 6K swim back in July in Bantham, and it was sore after that. So yeah, this is just a little bit more, and it's like, oh God. Anyway, there we go. And then I think, Rob, in terms of how did we feel afterwards, I felt really proud because I would never have thought I'd do a 10K swim.
That's
I mean,
brilliant.
that's just,
it's an epic distance, isn't it?
for me, that is a bit, that's just a bit crazy, really. Why would you want to swim 10K?
Do you know what? I think the vast majority of people will hear you've done a 10K swim and be super impressed with that, because I've had enough 2K into a 4K swim, let alone 2K into a 10K swim.
So I can't really believe that we did it. And then when you're in the water, you don't. It's so weird, isn't it? It's not like you can take in all of the scenery around. I mean, I noticed that there was woods or that there was beautiful green Devon countryside, but I don't know. When you're swimming, you don't. It's difficult to take much more in than water. And oh God, this is so salty. Oh no! I swallowed a bit. I'm gonna get a funny tummy.
What point did it get salty at?
From the beginning.
Oh, was it like it's tidal all the way up, is it? And then
it was salty from the very beginning.
Right.
So then
you don't even get the freshwater start. What a shame.
No. But previously it had been freshwater for maybe the first 4K or something. Whereas this time, it was very much salt water, and you just that weird sensation at the back of your throat.
And
then when you had a jelly baby, it was the most bizarre feeling in your mouth, because it was a mixture of the salt and then like sugar.
Wowzers. Hells, we salute you.
Thanks, I'd recommend it.
You. Good stuff.
Recommend it. It's good.
Well, we better wrap this up, I think, hadn't we?
Yes, can I say one more thing and then I'll shut up?
You sure can.
Thanks. Right, so I'm going to be doing Sandman on Sunday. So always aim high. Sandman Triathlon on Anglesey on Sunday. So say hello if you see me. But on Saturday, I'm going to be at registration selling copies of Fueled by More cake. So I will take some cake. All you need to do is bring £10, and if you have one already, just come buy another one. Come and say hello, and and if you aren't coming to Anglesey, then head to fueledbycake.com and buy a book online. That would be marvellous. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Right then, so if you are down at Sandman this weekend, have a fantastic race and get yourself one of Hell's books. Before you go, do a few things for us. If you can give us a rating on iTunes, that would be brilliant. If you can visit our sponsors at precisionhydration.com, you can use the code Oxygenaddict for £9.99 worth of free precision hydration. You can enter the food cell competition by going to Instagram and Twitter and following at FuelCell Europe. So note that's at FuelCell Europe. Send them a message with the hashtag FoodCell, and then you'll be entered into the draw. And remember, you can join our free Facebook group, the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Community. You can follow the link in the show notes or just search for it on Facebook. All right, that's everything, I think. Thanks very much for listening, everybody. Hope you have a brilliant weekend. If you're racing at Sandman, make sure you shout, "Give me some cake" at Helen as you pass her, or she passes you.
No, as you pass me.
And have a great, safe training and racing week. I'm Coach Rob Bilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
And you've been listening to the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you again next week. Cheers. See ya.